The newsday continues here on One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. The Philippine Business for Education will launch the Bet sa Balota initiative to keep track of the presidential candidates' platform on education. In an interview with the Chiefs, PBED Deputy Executive Director Dayan Fajardo Valencia said that this will keep the public informed on the candidates' plans for education if they get elected as president. She said the initiative will also give them an idea which presidential role is lacking in terms of platforms.
So far, we've yung nire-research namin yung about dun sa 10-point agenda namin. And so far, kumbaga ang difference lang nila yung dami o yung lawak ng mga education stances, platforms, initiatives nila. So nag-range kasi 10-point agenda, diba? So right now may nag-range from 9 to 1. So next week we will launch Bet sa Balota, which is boto para sa edukasyon at trabaho sa balota. And doon makikita ng ating mga audiences kung sino yung mga candidates na may malawak na plano or pag-intindi sa edukasyon.
PBED also opposes the proposed mandatory military service for all Filipinos. Fajardo Valencia said that this will not solve the lack of civil consciousness in the country.
Kailangan natin magsimula sa eskwelahan, sa paaralan. So to build civic consciousness, kailangan natin ng maayos na pagtuturo ng kasaysayan. Mm-hmm. 'Di ba? Kailangan dapat marunong silang kumilates ng tama at mali. Dapat solid yung values education natin, and it should be relevant for digital natives. We should also tap the youth and give them other venues for volunteerism, 'di ba? So magturo sa mga street children o kaya sa mga nangangailangan, tumulong sa disaster preparedness, ganyan. And hindi kailangan ng mandatory military service for that.
Mabini, Batangas is focusing on cleanup drives to attract more visitors as the number of tourists severely dipped during the recent surge in cases. Shaila Francisco with the story.
Diapers, underwear, and other single-use plastics. These are just some of the trash collected during an underwater cleanup drive in Mabini, Batangas this morning. A coastal cleanup was also done simultaneously with volunteers gathering discarded food wrappers and face masks. A total of 135 kilograms of trash were collected.
Kasi hindi to natutunaw, hindi to nawawala, forever siyang paikot-ikot sa atin. So ito yung mga dapat natin talaga nire-relocate, dapat inaalis natin siya sa ating kalikasan at especially sa dagat dahil alam naman po natin ang ating mga isda, ang ating mga mga fishes, ganyan, nakakain to at namamatay sila dahil dito at nasisira ang ecosystem.
The Environment Department says it takes a maximum of 1 millennium for some plastic waste to break down. Without regular cleanups, they fear that these will pile up in the waters. The cleanup effort also seeks to study the extent of the problem so that measures to improve waste collection can be implemented. Actor Piolo Pascual, who lives in Batangas, also helped out.
Miski turista tayo, miski taga dito tayo, nagsisimula sa atin yung kusa ba na hindi tayo dumagdag sa waste, hindi tayo dumagdag sa kadumihan ng kapaligiran natin. And also, para pag pinapractice natin yun, yung ibang tao, sila rin gagawin nila yun.
The Mabini Tourism Office is hoping that regular cleanups can attract more tourists. For the first 3 weeks of the year, less than 100 tourists have gone to the area.
Usually around noon, you can still see boats with guests coming back from their diving activities or tourists walking along these shores. But now we don't see any tourists around. According to the Tourism Office of Mabini, almost all guests canceled their bookings for this month.
This hotel, for one, decided to shut down in the past 2 weeks, losing about 30 guests per day and 2 private events.
It's very hard to close down. It's very hard to keep everyone inside the resort and keep them motivated, and then the loss of income is massive.
With this, the tourism office assures that Mabini is safe for tourists even amid the threat of the Omicron variant.
Dito naman sa Mabini, ang aming mga dive resorts ay hindi sila pinupuno. Hindi sila kagaya ng mga other beach resorts na pang family outings. Ito ay mostly for recreational diving at bilang lang talaga.
For now, they are hoping that the number of cases in Metro Manila subsides to encourage more people to travel. They are also hoping to have international travel restrictions relaxed since foreigners make up half of the tourists in the area. Those who want to visit Mabini are required to present either a vaccine card or a negative COVID test. Shaila Francisco, We Are One News.
We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. Now, as COVID-19 cases continue to rise, more and more people are placed under quarantine. Now, how are people coping with isolation mentally and emotionally? Mobile journalist Jacob Lazaro gives us a front seat to the story.
Being a mild COVID case, I thought things were gonna be easy. I just have to stay at home and drink paracetamol. But it turned out being stuck in isolation can be suffocating.
So pag hindi talaga nagkaroon talaga ng the usual routine na ginagawa natin, ang nangyayari is nagre-refuse tayo sa change, and that is what they call maladjustment. No?
Dr. Sheila Hoxon, Guidance Director of FEU Manila, said isolation has this effect because first, the never-ending uncertainty of COVID, and second, it breaks our routine that has kept us sane.
And of course, pag nagkakaroon tayo ng mga maladjustments, pag lumalala yan with a certain severity and symptoms, nagiging adjustment disorder siya.
And symptoms of maladjustment include anxiety, boredom, and for many cases, self-pity. Now, if you're feeling any of these, it's important to remember that it's completely normal and that you are not alone. So how can we cope? Dr. Hoxon suggests keeping a journal. Writing down your experience can help you organize your thoughts, process your feelings, so you can have a better understanding of what you're going through.
Make it to a point that you write, is my thought objective? Is there a fact in terms of my thought? Or is my thought just an exaggeration of my opinion?
But it doesn't always have to be negative. Journaling is also a good way to immortalize happy memories and manifest your goal. Next, make an action plan. Create a structure on how your day would go, using a calendar to delegate the hours for work and the hours for leisure. Calming activities such as listening to relaxing music or doing short exercises is a good way to start your day. If you find it hard to function while working from home, changing your scenery by working in different parts of your home could help. Pro tip, get out of your pajamas. Some days I wear work clothes, beach outfits, and ones for partying, depending on my mood, just to get that feeling of normalcy. Lastly, have a support system. Chat or video call with a friend or family. Check how they're doing. Tell them how you're doing. Just talk to them to get your attention out of your head.
If there are small wins, celebrate that. If there are big wins, celebrate that. Go for consistency, no? And if it's not working, the brutal fact it's not working, change it.
These are just some of the coping strategies that have helped me. There are many more out there. Just choose the ones that work best for you. And just remember that you don't need to rush feeling better. Most of the time, it's best to start slow and steady. Mobile journalist Jacob Lazaro, we are One News.
While the world struggles with isolation as COVID cases rises, UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson is facing calls for resignation after supposedly attending parties during lockdown. Let's watch this Bloomberg Quick Take.
He's clearly in the biggest political crisis of his prime ministership, so his grip on the leadership is looking weaker than it ever has done before, but many people didn't think he would have got to the weekend without a vote of no confidence, and he's survived this far, so he may yet survive further.
I want to begin by repeating my apologies to everybody for the misjudgments that I've made, that we may have made in Number 10 and beyond, whether in Downing Street or throughout the pandemic. I want to just say to you on that point, nobody told me that what we were doing was, as you say, against the rules, that the event in question was something that we were going to do something that wasn't a work event. And you know, as I said in the House of Commons, when I went out into that garden, I thought that I was attending a work event.
And those are the top stories of the hour. Join us later again at 1:30 in the afternoon as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on Signal Play app. Register for a free account now, www.signalplay.com, and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Riza Diaz. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We are One News.